Well, my guests this morning are three lovely women, of course, doing their thing when it comes to the world of politics. And we're going to be speaking to them on very pertinent issues. Joining me right now, we have Margaret Ansay. She's a member of the NDC communications team. Hiya. How you doing? It's been a while. I haven't seen you in, 2 months or so?
Like
3 months?
2 weeks after saying.
I wasn't here, so...
you too.
So I haven't seen you in a while. Me too, I was in a different kind of a scene.
I can imagine.
I was doing my own stuff, but good to see you this morning.
Nice to see you.
And Anaya Chimpim Jantwa is the General Secretary for the CPP. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? I'm fine, thank you.
You're looking nice.
Thank you. I'm learning from you. Ooh. All three of you, actually. So you also look really good this morning.
Thank you.
And we're honored to be joined by the Deputy Information Minister, Fatima Abubakar Esquire. Good to see you.
Same here.
I haven't seen you in 5 years.
No.
Literally. 10 years. And Margaret said she hasn't seen you in 10 years.
Don't mind her.
How's the ministry doing?
By the grace of God.
Everything is going well.
Yes, we have to apply ourselves and do our best.
And you are. Absolutely. Well, there's something that is trending. It's been trending all week about a leaked audio tape, which happens to talk about the IGP and alleged plots to take him out of office just so that the NPP could allegedly maintain its position as number one in the country and continue to reign beyond the 2024 elections. This has brought a lot of conversation on social media, across our media platforms, with many people sharing their opinions on it. But Honorable James Agaga has been the front runner on this, championing a probe, a parliamentary probe into this to find out, first of all, who are behind this audio tape, whose voices have been heard, and what exactly the plot was. And if that's the case, others have described it as treasonous, and this is literally a coup plot. Well, let's take a listen to a part of the audio tape and what exactly it talks about. And then we'll hear from Mr. James Agaga, who is saying that he thinks that the president should be the one to even initiate this probe, first of all. Then we'll go to the floor of Parliament and hear from the Speaker of Parliament on this.
We want him, constituency, yes, but why? We don't want him as MP. I see. Yes, not Chelsea, I told you, he's a party man. You see, and the president is aware. I am telling you, he's here. You see, it is not only his constituency that we want him to serve.
No.
He should serve MPP at the national level.
Yes. I mean, that's his profession.
That is his profession. Yes. He's a lawyer, he's a chartered accountant. Yes. He taught me at the police college. Anyway, I got 85. I got 85%. Yes.
No, it was good or bad.
Oh, yes, it was excellent. I did well. And when he teaches you, I mean, he has a nice method of teaching. So getting the import of what he has taught you is very easy. This is simple, simplifies everything. You see? So he's the one everybody wants to see. This man is not a lawyer. He has no fair idea of the law. He has never been on the field. It was NDC that was promoting him day in, day out. When Massa was assistant superintendent of police, he was a sergeant. You are what? Sergeant. Sergeant. Then NDC brought you this far. Now, what is bragging about is the fact that he will be IGP to 2030. Because your mama has promised him if he should win, may God forbid anything, if he should win, he will maintain him as IGP.
Who was there to hear this?
Oh, it is true. Wait, a meeting was held, of which he was a party to that meeting, and where he was even
NDC
meeting headed by your man.
And
this thing is not coming from you. You can Google, you see.
I know that.
You can go to Ghana Web. Yes, the number of web. But all these things that Barry is doing.
But are you saying that the President Nanado doesn't hear this?
Who will tell you?
The probe must be independent in character to start with. The initiator of such a probe would be the president. The president, as you are aware, is the chief guarantor of our security. He is chairman of the armed forces. And so the president, if you ask me, is the person who must put in motion the mechanisms to ensure that those who are behind the audio are brought to book.
The need for an investigation. So I will urge the maker of the urgent statement to submit in writing the terms of the proposed statement, which he just gave us notice. This will guide me to give the direction as to how the investigation or inquiry will be conducted by the appropriate committee of the House.
And so that is the situation on the ground. It's a 50-minute long tape. And if you've had the time to listen, I guess that you get all the details. But first of all, let me just say that the tape has not necessarily been verified. It is yet to be investigated for us to figure out, of course, if it was doctored or not, if the people involved are really of the police service, and what exactly the plot is. But at the moment, this is what's happening. And the speaker says that there should be a term of reference that's written on paper and forwarded to him before he'll be able to determine what kind of investigation would go into this. But there are concerns about, the police service and how it has allegedly become politicized. Fati, good morning again to you. I'm sure you've listened to the tape.
Yes.
What did you make of it the first time you heard it?
First of all, I would like to say that, let me first of all say good morning to you, my sisters, and your cherished viewers at home. I must say that I have listened to excerpts, not the entire tape, because people are just picking aspects that interest them to propagate or to aid public discourse. And what I made of the tape, really, if it is anything, if it is true, because in this day of, digital advancement and AI and all that, when there is any recording and nobody has owned up to it, and there is no investigation whatsoever to confirm or deny the contents, the authenticity of the content of such material, it is not properly placed for me to even go into the merits of whatever the content of that tape is.
Okay.
Because in any case, if you are quick to talk and impatient, and eventually there is any investigation and then it turns out to be what was not, most of the times we fail to hold ourselves accountable as to all the things that we said without basis. And it is for that reason and that reason alone that I believe that tape in itself has no merit whatsoever and doesn't hold anything. And specifically, let me talk about the fact that no IGP in Ghana under the 1992 Constitution can win election for anybody.
Okay.
No IGP can win election for anybody. And that is based on the facts and the statistics that we've had in this country. Why am I saying that? In the year 2000, we went into a general election, and the IGP at the time was appointed by President Rawlings of blessed memory. His name was Peter Namfori. He took the NDC into an election, although he was appointed by the NDC government. But the NDC lost the election to the NPP. In the year 2008, the IGP was Mr. Patrick Kwatinge Champong, who was appointed by the then NPP government, led by His Excellency President Kufuor. The NPP lost that election to the NDC. And then in 2016, the IGP was Mr. John Kudalo, who took the NDC into an election as an IGP. And the NDC lost the election massively to the NPP. The point I'm trying to make is that we politicians on all platforms, even in courts, have agreed to the assertion that elections are won at the polling stations. The IGP is not a polling agent. The IGP only has one vote, just like any other Ghanaian.
But he controls the entire security agency when it comes to elections.
And let me tell you something about security arrangement for elections. Even as we speak, if we have a Ministry of Interior or any other administrative setup within the executive to aid the security, they don't have any powers as to the operational arrangements of that. Same as those of us who work with the media, the Ministry of Information. Your commitment ends at policy direction and bursary support so that they can maximize their operations and do well. Beyond that, you don't go into their operations. And the point I'm saying is that, see, people have appointed IGPs time and time again, even appointed ECs, and still lost elections. Elections are won based on your performance and your record. And we in the NPP government believe we should advocate for the things that we have done and convince Ghanaians that the direction and path that we are charting is the direction that can lead Ghana into a stable democracy that can bring prosperity.
Okay.
Because if we did not believe that convincing Ghanaians to go to the polls to vote for an NPP government is what will bring us power, then I will not be sitting here. I shouldn't drive from Pokwase at 5 a.m. just to get here and make up. But we believe it is very important to engage in the path that we are charting so that they will support us. Not once has anyone in government contemplated that let's go to sleep. We can dig a black hole and an IGP from somewhere will send security people to go to the polls.
That conversation hasn't come up at all.
Why
so
would
there's
we
no
have
plots
that?
to remove him because he is allegedly not an
the
NPP
Interior
man?
Minister has addressed Parliament. He has debunked the allegations. And I'm saying I'm not going into the merit because this is mere, if it is true that such a conversation took place, it is all about mere gossips and hearsay. Besides, it is the same conversation that says the president is not listening and wanting to remove the IGP. So we cannot take or accept part of the conversation to be true and part of it not to be true. I don't believe the IGP will need to have secret meetings with the former President Mahama. If he wants to have meetings with him, he's a statesman, former president, and a stakeholder within the political sphere. He has every right to have meetings with every former leader and every leader if it means it will bring some stability and peace within our democratic
I think we have not politicized the security agency.
No, not at all.
We haven't done that.
No, not at all.
So, of course, it's nothing to go by until it's verified.
And I always ask people that if you approbate, if you lay some accusations, show cause. Give us the reason why, the basis for that. Because we believe President Akufo-Addo's government is building the Kwabenya police village, is helping with disbursement so that they can get financial clearance to recruit and intensify security of this country, because we are within a period of time where West Africa is generally unsafe. So we are heavily reliant on the activities and high performance of all security apparatus.
And not because they belong to one party or the other. In this case, I mean, there were allegations about the fact that the IGP's father comes from the eastern region, and so that must have played a role. And, you know, he withheld some information about his allegiance to some extent, and these are all alleged anyway, to the NDC, etc., etc. And so if they had known, and it says that there were some people within the party who had alerted the authorities that he was not on the side of the NPP, and so he should not have been appointed the IGP. Are we saying that some of these things are not considered in selecting who leads the Ghana Police Service?
The president of Ghana over the years has shown to Ghanaians that when it comes to appointments, he believes in competence and capacity, that alone. That is why he appointed a special prosecutor who was an active member of the NDC, who had been a running mate to the presidential candidate of the NDC.
But he threw eggs in the face of the president.
But it doesn't matter. It is on him.
He described the president as corrupt.
I'm saying it is on him.
He says the president did not take action.
I am saying it is on him. If he fails to show cause, the secretary to the president brought out a response comprehensively, and it is up to us to take it or leave it.
Okay.
But I'm saying the president, by his actions, has shown that he has not been preoccupied with gossips about whose father comes from where and whose mother comes from where, and all the speculations and hearsay for his appointments.
So none of his appointments have been based on the fact that one belongs to the party or not?
It has been based on capacity, and he has shown it time and time again that even if anybody has opposition to the appointment of anybody, we are working based on his vision and dream for this country. And he selects the best hands that he believes can execute that vision. And if Ghanaians are, praising the security forces, their operations, their visibility, they should remember to praise President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo,
All right.
who is giving them the facility and resources to enhance their operations.
Nanaya, I mean, this clearly, if it is verified that it's true, it has some ramifications on our constitution as well. And, many aspects of democracy. What do you make of the tape, first of all? And do you agree to the probe? And how do you think it should be done?
Thank you, Bella. Greetings to your viewers and greetings to my comrades in the Convention People's Party. Greetings to my friend Abdul Latif Dan and greetings to my sisters. Why should this have ramifications on the Constitution? You see, if I'm being very clear, I'm being very, the word is not coming, but it's lamentations. To be very honest.
Why?
Where is it going to? These are the thoughts of people having a conversation. And who are the people in there? What kind of power do they have to exact any action? We need to find out. It's a tape, it has come up. What was the context? It's somebody might be thinking that, okay, we went to Asin North. The thing that we wanted to do, we wanted to go with guns, we wanted to do certain things, the IGP did not allow us. The fact that the man did not allow them, people will be upset. They will be unhappy. We were here, remember we watched, and there was this man who was dressed in a police or military garb, and the police dragged him into a vehicle. So, even listening, what I have is not clear. Even listening to it now, I am wondering what is going on. I immediately did a calculation that they said when His Excellency or whoever, I don't know, if by God's grace, whatever happens and he's president, he's going to keep the IGP till 2030. His Excellency, in case he wins, his term will not be up to 2030. His term will be 2028. The next person who takes over is 2029. So how can he have the capacity to keep somebody till 2030? That also brings a flaw into the tape.
Okay.
But who the IGP doesn't win elections. He doesn't win elections. And the IGP did a good thing by ensuring that there is peace. He did a good thing by ensuring that nobody dies. I mean, for him, I believe what he wants to do is not a repetition of 2020. Where 9 people, 8 people died until today, he cannot find out who killed them. So maybe going forward, he has told himself that for my legacy to be clean, I am going to ensure that there is no violence. My men are not going to take guns to the polling stations. My men are not going to be armed, but they will use other police methods to combat whatever happens. Whatever conflict, whatever situation that happens, they will use other methods. These are the thoughts of people in the MPP. We haven't even verified who said what. We shouldn't be too much ahead of ourselves.
But if names are mentioned, and these include the president, there's a doctor that they're saying we had to ensure doctor wins the elections, and that is why we need to change the IGP.
Who is doctor?
Well, they're talking about the MPP, and so, of course, it needs to be verified. So we're asking those questions that for the people whose names have been mentioned, should they also not be concerned? Because then it points to them that they may be involved in something unless it is verified.
Please,
which is why there should be an investigation.
You said it's treasonable. Is IGP the president?
I'm not saying it's treasonable.
Who said
we have
that?
interviewed people. Lawyer Jantua, your brother, even described it as treasonous, and he says that this amounts to a coup.
Okay. It might be treasonable. I'm not a lawyer. So it might be treasonable. But this is not the president we are talking about. Do you understand? We are not talking about a group of people saying that we have to overthrow a government. These conversations go on, especially after a bitter defeat that you thought you could make it, especially when the person who defeated your candidate is somebody who is in court. And you become bitter. And you say all manner of things. The investigation is apt. But I am saying that if the IGP is to be removed, it wouldn't depend on fruitless lamentations.
Okay.
These are people who are hurt that they did not win an election. That's if it is verified. And if they did not win an election, they are unhappy. And they have to attribute it to somebody because some of the mechanisms that they use to intimidate wasn't allowed. So certainly they will be upset. I have, you see, when I talk about it, it's something else, but I have a problem with this fixation on former President John Mahama. Well, whenever there is anything, then they'll bring his name in it. That he has promised, that he has met. Any political party, even me, I can meet the IGP. As long as you are in the political space, you can meet the IGP if you feel that something is wrong. The IGP can even call any political party for a discourse. That does not mean that there's a plot. Okay. Besides, the president, before he appointed this IGP, it is done, a thorough national security check was done, I believe, on this IGP. I believe the president knows where he's coming from. The president knows that he was a former ADC of His Excellency John Atta Mills. I don't think it is at the president's blind side. He knows. He knows whatever it is. Are you telling me that this IGP does not have briefings with the president? You'll be surprised. Presidents want something else. The people of the president want another thing. So there's a conflict. Who does the IGP answer to? The IGP, the chairman of the council of the police, is the vice president. So how did you know that they didn't even discuss to say that don't allow guns in there? Because if anybody dies, it's on the head of the president. It's on the head of the vice president. Bella, so I don't think that this IGP works in a vacuum. There's nobody in the public service hierarchy that works in a vacuum.
Okay.
Certainly, there should be some discourse between them. So these are people who believe that they wanted to do something and it wasn't allowed. MPP should understand that they should do their work properly. You don't have to use intimidation to get anybody to vote for you. Because you see, your performance is very evidential. It is in the economy. It is in inflation. It is in exchange rate. It is the prices of goods and services. It is in security. So, they have to do their things properly. All these things that people talk about, it doesn't really, matter.
It doesn't matter?
If Ghanaians say they are fed up with you, they are fed up with you.
Have we politicized the appointments of some of these leaders into some of these state institutions?
Of course, because that is where the constitution must be reviewed.
So is that not why this tape could have some serious ramifications on the constitution, to the extent that now there are conversations about even what goes into selecting one person or the other for IGP or for whatever office, and the fact that the person may have to lean towards the party in power?
My dear, I beg you, these things happen every time when appointments are made.
Is that okay?
It is not okay. It is never okay. But these things are done.
So what are we doing about it?
That is the point. We have to review our constitution and make the IGP, the police, the military be very independent of government. Our constitution allows the president to appoint. So we need to review the constitution so that we have to take action fast. So that the IGP, whoever the security sector, they go through a process of public service commission. They go through a process of applying officially, adverts in the newspaper, so that the best will be chosen. The Supreme Court judges should be chosen by a conclave of Supreme Court judges, the senior most, and they go through Parliament and all that. All these political interferences in our city, this is what it is bringing to us. Seriously. Because you see, the argument is that the IGP was, those arguments are very infantile. The IGP was the ADC to His Excellency.
Allegedly.
Is it alleged?
Yeah.
No,
He was. Was he really?
Yes.
Okay.
He was the ADC to His Excellency Atta Mills. And so what? I always tell the story that
when the former president was the vice, not when he was president, which is why,
yes. You see, I told a story on a sister station, and there's a story that we all laugh in the family. In 1979, the person who arrested my father after the coup was his ADC. Because according to the coup plotter, he will be the one who will find where he is. And when they asked him to come and arrest him, he didn't say no. He came and said, Papa, they said I should bring you. He put handcuffs on his hands in front of all of us and carried them away. Did you get me? And this was his ADC. So it is neither here nor there. If he was his ADC when he was vice president, doesn't mean that he hasn't got a conscience. He doesn't want somebody to die anymore on his hand, because till today, it is on his head. He has not been able to find out who killed those 8 people. We are going into another 2024 election. And if this thing is going to happen again, nobody should lose their life in this country because of an election. A father, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a son should not be lost because of an election. So, what Dampare is doing is that I am ensuring that it will not happen. If somebody is not happy with it, it is their own business.
Okay.
It is their own business. But for me, yes, it has to be investigated. But why Parliament? The key to this investigation is the voice.
Whose voice?
The voice is on it.
Okay.
To make sure that, you see, if you say it is doctored, there's an original tape and this is a doctored one. We should get the voices, so there should be a voice.
So forensics to determine,
whose voice is it. So the people that we suspect are on the tape, we should take their voices.
But why are you saying why Parliament? You don't think that Parliament should be the grounds?
Why Parliament?
That should initiate the investigation?
The police themselves, they have a CID wing.
This is an allegation against the police by the police. Allegedly.
Which police?
Allegedly.
On the IGP.
On the IGP. By someone who may belong to the police service. How do they investigate themselves?
We want the right thing to be done. Do you get me?
Mm-hmm.
This is a matter of forensics. Even if we can spend money to take it out of this country, to find out whose voice is this. Are you telling me that the police cannot do an independent job? Aside of the IGP.
You don't think Parliament can do an independent job?
Okay, do they have the capacity? Because this one, the only thing in there is the voice. To authenticate that the people we are suspecting who are in there are actually the people who are talking.
All right. Let me bring Margaret in. Is it really true that former President Dramani Mahama has promised the current IGP? Well, I'm just asking, is it true? Based on the audio that we have heard.
Dear, but if you look at the term that they are
you hold on. You let me see if it's true or not. Is it true that such a promise was made?
Good morning, Bella. Good morning to your cherished viewers and then to my sisters. Bella, before we come to President Mahama and Dampare's meeting, I would like to ask my colleague in the MPP, through Fati.
Okay.
Why is the former NDC chairman, Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo, being persecuted in court? What was it over? Was it over a tape, a leaked tape? Why is the MPP today not interested in the probing of this tape? Why are they trying to, let it slide?
Have they said they are not interested?
Right, listening to Fati right now, it's like it is not authenticated. It is. What is Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo doing in court? Do we have double laws in this country? It was about a same tape. For whatever it was in it was even about electoral commissioner or whatever. And today we're also talking about IGP, another state institution. Bella, I will not sit here and talk for Mr. Dampare. My point is that state institutions must have the capacity to be neutral. And it will strengthen our democracy as a country. That is why we have an interest in this case. And hearing police officers in a conversation talking about how they are sponsoring political parties and why they are even talking to a political animal over the IGP, that they should remove him and he can do a better job. And when he was there, the current IGP was a sergeant and all that. Bella, this is a culture that we must all condemn.
But it's not verified. It's not verified. So we cannot even tell for a fact that it's policemen who were in there and they were talking to a political animal.
The point is that, my point is, the culture of pulling him down as Ghanaians, we have to talk about it. The position is an enviable position. It comes with a lot of envy, a lot of threats and all that. But why can't we all support people to work for this country? The police as an institution is noted for that.
Noted for what exactly?
This backbiting, pulling him down, police officers going to politicians to gossip about their superiors.
But police officers won't be the only ones who do this. I think it's a general
that is why I said
human
that
problem.
culture. And this is, when you speak to police officers, this is something which is very common there. And it's a culture of all of us.
Okay.
In politics, I mean, it works.
Exactly.
But the point is that this is a state institution that is expected to be neutral. How can a police officer allegedly claim that they sponsor political parties? How can you be talking about your superior this way? I think we have to check the hierarchy. If it is much of a pyramid type, it will not stop completely, but minimize. Because when you have so many commissioners, so many deputy commissioners, and the difference between the IGP and the commissioner, it is just from commissioner to become an IGP. So every commissioner wants to be an IGP. Gone were the days, you just have about 2 or 3 commissioners. Now it is so like it's a mass production. A lot of commissioners, as for the deputy commissioners, uncountable. So everybody is trying to bootleg and get there. But Bella, there have been instances when you speak to police officers, they will tell you, I am a friend of the police. I have direct uncles, brothers who are into the service. And this is what goes on there, where certain commissioners who go and sit at the MPP, your former chairman, was Mewu, Freddie Blay, sit in his office day and night. Eventually, he became an IGP. He went and gossiped about his predecessor.
Who are we talking about?
Eventually, he knows. He's
Who are we
listening.
talking about? You are the one making allegations
Bella,
here, so you
don't
need to
worry.
back it with
The
facts.
point is that it's a
Who
culture,
are we talking about?
And it must stop.
Yes, but Margot, you cannot make such a statement on this platform and not back it. So who are you talking about necessarily?
Bella,
Who
the
went
point-
to sit
the
in the
point
office
is that
of the former
culture
chairman till he became
of
IGP?
Police officers going to politicians and gossip because they want the IGP position must stop. And it must come across all facets of our institution.
Margot, you're not telling us who you're talking about.
Bella, what is important is that they are doing it to Dampare, which is current. And it started from somewhere. But at least now that there is a leak tape, we must use that as an example to tell them to stop. And why it can stop is through this bipartisan probe or whatever, when it comes out and it is true that those people were indeed police officers, the sanctions should be such harsh that it will stop or it will deter any other person from doing that again. If they are stripped off of their positions and their privileges and they go home empty, I don't think any commissioner or any police officer will go to a politician and do this again. It is becoming one too many. Bella, the point is, has any IGP assisted the MPP in winning an election before?
Has former President John Dramani Mahama promised the IGP that he'll keep him in office?
Has any IGP in this country assisted the MPP in winning an election before? Why is the
asking a
police?
question as
why
well. You
is the
haven't answered that.
alleged person saying? Bella, I'll come there. Why is the allegedly police commissioner saying that over his dead body will NDC come to power? And if Dampare is there, it will be difficult for them to come to power to break the aids because Dampare has successfully supervised 2 by-elections without any violence.
You seem to be fixated on the part that implicates the NPP. But again, a statement was made with regards to the NDC and some promises that were allegedly made. So let's balance this conversation.
So
is it true then that that statement was made? And if that's the case, this has not been verified.
What is President Mahama's business with the current IGP? What does it provide him? How do they relate? Why will Mr. Dampare go to President Mahama for a meeting?
Why would he not?
Why?
Nanaya just said that once you are in politics, anybody
benefits?
at all can meet the IGP for various discussions.
If President Mahama has met the IGP, it will be known, it will be public. Because he's an officer, why would he hide? President Mahama is a statesman, he is also an officer of the state. If they are supposed to meet over a discussion, why will it be in secret?
Okay.
There are times that NDC officials have been arrested and President Mahama has gone to the police headquarters himself to interact with them and visit Koko Aidowu and the rest. Why? It was public.
Okay.
So will Mr. Dampare go and meet the former President John Mahama and come and discuss with the alleged or the supposed commissioner who was having a conversation in the tape? No. The point is that has any IGP in this country assisted the MPP in winning an election before? Because in 2020, in the history of the Fourth Republic, 8 people died for the MPP to have their re-elections. Was it assisted by any IGP? Who was the IGP then? Was it there for the country or he was there for a certain political party? All these things must be looked into. That is why we need that bipartisan probe into this leak tape. Because it could be that the whatever commissioner that was having the conversation with Bugri Nabu allegedly is aware of a certain move, certain strategies, certain actions that assisted the MPP to win an elections. Because we've all spoken about these 8 people dying. What was so painful is the 14-year-old girl who died in 2020 election. I mean, our condolences to all the families and whatever, but we are not seeing any serious action in getting to the bottom of this issue. Do certain people, certain IGPs, have they been appointed to assist the MPP? Because this is an MPP conversation we are talking about. In 2020, who was the IGP? What assistance did he give the MPP to win the election? Is that why 8 people died? We must find out so that it doesn't happen again. Because Dampare, when we went into Asin, he had meetings with the political parties. He told us what he was going to do. Nobody should bring guns, how people are going to be in mufti and all that, how the police officers were wearing cameras, picturing whatever that was happening right at the police headquarters. And these are successes that he chopped, and we gave it to him. But I will not praise Dampare or, talk for him or whatever, because he hasn't done anything to the interest of my political party. What I expect him to do is to be a statesman. Okay. Is to make sure that the police service is devoid of partisan politics. Is to make sure that the police institution is completely and 100% neutral. That is why we are interested in this case. Because Dampare himself, he hasn't done anything to help the NDC.
He's not supposed to. Because you have just said it yourself.
Exactly.
That he should be as independent as the Pope.
Encourage. And you see, this goes to other institutions, the legislature, whatever, electoral commission, whatever. They are there to serve the Ghanaian people. The decision should be about the people, not who appointed them.
No, but again, don't you think that whoever gets to appoint them in some ways also has some influence, and which is why there's a need for a constitutional review, so that the powers that have been given to the president are taken away?
Before we get there, the people themselves should come with certain attributes. It should be the country first. If it's country first, we had the MPP General Secretary questioning the police officer at saying that why is it that the MDC strongholds are calm and that their strongholds are full of violence. The MPP General Secretary was asking the police officer that take gun and bullets and go and bomb the NDC strongholds, so that it will be violent.
He told the police officer?
If you're asking somebody why your opponent's stronghold
But
is
did
calm,
he tell the officer that take a gun?
So what was he expecting from the officer?
So are you just deducing from what he said? So
Bella, if I come to tell you that, why are you allowing Fatih to talk and I am not talking? What do I imply? Stop Fatih from talking and allow me to talk.
Not necessarily.
So what will I imply?
It could mean different things. But in this case where you're saying that if he's asking
Bella,
why
there is an election going on.
So it means
there is an election going on. It's peaceful, unlike Ayawaso West. And the MPP General Secretary, the most powerful person in the MPP as a political party, is questioning a police officer in uniform. That why are there not violence in the NDC strongholds? And you think this is cool?
I'm not saying this is cool.
Exactly. So
I haven't said that, so please don't misconstrue. I'm just saying that your deduction from what he said.
I am not even expecting you to give me an answer.
No. But let me tell you, because I don't want you to put out a narrative that says that I'm okay with it. But your deduction is what I'm questioning.
Listen, if there's a leak tape today that the IGP did not support them, and the IGP's continuous existence in his office will not help them to break the 8, it goes to buttress the fact that the General Secretary was asking the police officer, why is the NDC stronghold calm?
So you agree to the bipartisan probe.
Exactly.
Nanaya doesn't think that the Parliament is equipped to investigate this matter.
You see, my point is that if we allow the Police Investigative Bureau to handle this, it is about the IGP. He is still in charge. I don't know how he can excuse himself. I don't know how this whole thing will go about that he will not have a role to play in it. So if we get an independent, aside the police institution, I think it will be fair, and it will also give us that trust and no conflict of interest or whatsoever.
Okay.
But the punishment should be so harsh that, Bella, it will stop police officers from visiting civilians and politicians and gossiping for the IGP position, because that is the only appointment that is being made by a political, hand.
Okay.
So everybody wants it. There are so many commissioners, as I said, so everybody feels that I can be. That is why he's saying when he was Dampare was a sergeant. So he feels he has not been treated fairly. And how can he get his own share? It's by bootlicking and undermining him. So we must put in measures, looking at the constitution, whatever. The structure of the police service should be structured in such a way that the promotion, I mean, in a pyramid form, you know, so it won't bring all this backbiting and jealousy and whatever that comes with it. I will urge them. I mean, state institutions are supposed to be neutral. Politicians should minimize their inroads in this kind of state institutions, electoral commission, judiciary, wherever. And the citizens should also come out when they see things like this, because it's becoming one too many, and that character will not help our democracy and will not help this country. But as I said, it was Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo was
I'll let you come in, Fatih.
being persecuted on a tape. So I expect the MPP and Fatih to support this probe into this tape.
Yesterday, the Interior Minister on the floor of Parliament said he is in support of a probe into the tape.
I believe Fatih also supports that.
Well, I'll let her speak to that. But just before we go, so would your party go ahead with the review of the Constitution that takes away powers even from the President to appoint into some of these institutions?
Constitutional review, Professor Mills started this. President Mahama came.
The book is gathering dust. The report.
So I am telling you that
is gathering dust.
my party
is also doing one.
My party started this. So this is not something that is alien to us. We started it. We initiated it. But, I mean, change of power, and it's gathering dust now.
Change of power. That is why the review has not been done. No, but the report was given before power, changed hands.
So if we were in
and
office,
there were holes
we haven't done
punched
anything.
into the report.
Bella, we left office 7 years ago.
No, but before you left office, that report had been tabled
Bella,
to the office of the president.
Bella, have you forgotten somebody took this action to courts and that we halted on it? Google and find out. When President Mahama took time to initiate, we was taken to court. Google, you'll find it online.
But you had some concerns about, because there was a whole response to the
Bella,
review, the report that was put together by the Constitutional Review Committee.
We have
and
left
your government punched some holes and said there are
ago.
some aspects that we don't think needs to be reviewed.
We have left office 7 years ago. 7 years ago. And if any serious political party wants it to be reviewed, it would have been done by now.
So that means that your party is not serious.
We have left office 7 years ago.
You're saying if any serious party, does it mean that your party is not serious as well?
Which party is in government now?
Does it mean that because the report was brought during your time? But anyway, let me bring Fatih in.
Is government not continuing?
We understand that,
Exactly.
absolutely. But I'm just saying that if you're saying that, doesn't mean that your party is not serious as well. Because this is supposed to be about Ghanaians and not the MPP or the NDC.
Bella, who initiated the process?
Not the MPP. Yes, but you initiated the process. The report
Where did we get
was
to?
brought forth. What happened to it?
So
and that's
what
the
happened
concern
after
that
7
Ghanaians
years?
have. And I'm not calling just the NDC or the MPP as well, but I'm just saying that if you're saying
And
that,
the point is that
no serious government,
there is a political party who has formed a government in office for 7 years.
But your government did not implement some of the, the recommendations, which is what I was asking. But
Bella,
anyway,
we
let
were
me go to
voted
Fatih.
out of office.
No problem.
I mean, I
understand.
I have to get you clearly.
I understand. Fatih.
Why you are scared to put the blame on them?
Yeah.
No, I'm not scared.
Bella,
I'm never scared of anybody. I am
know-
Ghanaian, and for me as a Ghanaian, I would always say that I think that the MPP and the NDC have failed us
So, Bella,
as Ghanaians.
commend
And
us
so
for the
let us not call out just one party
Bella,
and leave another
commend
party.
us for
As a
starting the
Ghanaian,
process.
we have been failed.
How?
We have been failed
Who
by both
started the
political
process?
parties who have been in
Bella,
power
no,
over.
you cannot compare us to the
Fatih,
MPP.
So at this point, of course, Nana also doesn't think that Parliament has the capacity to investigate this. What do you say?
Bella, before I come to that, my sister has made a lot of, for want of better words, ridiculous claims
Like
about this tape, and ended up saying that there should be a probe. You have sat here and said it's not an NDC matter, it's an NPP matter. You are convinced and believe, and you are prejudiced that at all costs, whatever they are saying in the tape is the NPP people. Then why is there the need for a probe? Why is there the need for a forensic investigation?
The tape.
We are saying the people in the tape have not even been ascertained. So today, if me, Fatih, I sit somewhere and take my phone and record that I am an NDC person and that Maggie has done this, Nanaya has done this, that I'm going to take this step, it is enough simplicity that the NDC has done a recording without any investigation or probe. I have listened to the tape. I have cause to take some aspect of it and really bash the NDC about it. But Ghanaians are tired of the political banter without basis. Secondly, let me tell you, Bella, the New Patriotic Party as a party, we have leadership. Out of the over 5 million members of the party, the General Secretary of the party, who is our primary administrator, is the one who most times works as a mouthpiece for our party. The General Secretary of the party and the NPP in general has congratulated the NDC after the Assembly by-election. Even leaders, very outspoken and known leaders of our parties have done same. At the end of the day, a tape has come out. The people have not claimed it. The Interior Minister, who has supervisory responsibility over the security agencies, has come to debunk it. You say you don't believe that. Me, as a government spokesperson and second principal information officer of this country, have come out that we do not have any such intention or interaction based on even what the Interior Minister has said. You said you don't believe
but
it.
That's until the audio is verified.
But I'm saying that without verification, Maggie is sitting here saying she believes the content of an audio in the face of digital migration and digitization being part of mega trends, in the face of AI, in the face of a whole lot of things. Even without a probe, Maggie has sat here and blown hot air about this conversation where we have tried to exercise restraints that let us wait for a probe so that you don't have to eat your words back. Secondly, Maggie has made some, she's made some statement that showed me that clearly she hasn't even seen the Constitutional Review report. The report from 2010 precedes President Mahama's 4.5-year term as President of the Republic. And even at the time of the release of the report and the accompanying white paper, he was Vice President. If he has the intent and purpose, he equally has as much time as President Akufo-Addo has today. You are talking about 7 years. He has a whole 6 years as Vice President and President. If he had the intention, you are now referring to some Google article that Bella should go and look for. When you are sitting here as a spokesperson of the NDC and the former President Mahama administration, and you can't even find the report. The actions of the president, where is she going to find
but Fati,
those actions?
I mean, 7 years in, why has your party also not implemented?
I'm saying there is a process in place. I have been to the IEA debates because the former Speaker of Parliament has initiated a process, and we have all gone there to make contributions. Nana mentioned it earlier. I believe she has also had cause to attend some of the processes. I attended one on the constitution and gender-related issues. And trust me, every single week, they invite a lot of people. I even attended another session with both the minority and the majority leader so that we can enrich it and make the best recommendations for government and successively to do something about it.
And it's taking 7 years to do all this?
I'm saying, in any case, it is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo who, through the Constitution, has been able to create 6 new regions to offer administrative support and expansion to those.
But there was a lot more in the report.
But if it was easy to do all the things that the report wanted to do in a day, why didn't the NDC in 6 years do anything about it? Whatever stopped them is what is stopping President Akufo-Addo.
What exactly is stopping you?
No, I am saying that we have initiated processes. The president has acted on the Constitution more than the NDC could have ever dreamed of, apart from putting a paper together that is gathering dust. But in this instance, it is so unfair that Maggie should sit here and say that because the NDC was kicked out of office, that is why they couldn't implement the content of a report that I have a copy that I can submit to you to look at it.
I have seen it. I
can't recall a single action that President Mahama as president had the intention to review the report anyway.
Fatiba, do you agree
then
that moving forward, some of these state institutions and security agencies, their appointments, that power to appoint, should be taken away from the president?
Bella, we talk about these issues forgetting the history of Ghana. Since 1957 that we gained independence, we spent over 2 decades in the hands of people who were not legitimately selected or elected to be leaders of this country. Everything that you see in the 1992 Constitution were safeguard measures that will also ensure checks and balances and give some authority to legitimately selected or elected individuals to serve the people.
Okay.
Because we are under a democratic dispensation. Imagine, as we talk now, if you look at the operations of either the police council or their setup in general, at least if you would require the executive to even send your budget concerns to parliament and all that, there will be some collaboration of a sort so that we can work together. And beyond that collaboration, nobody poke their noses into the operation of the services. Imagine if they did not require Bank of Ghana, if they did not require any of the public sector institutions, go around and hold canes and sticks and mobilize money from the people themselves and spend, will there be a democracy? That is what we need to reflect upon.
But Fatih, if it's not working, and Ghanaians are saying that with everything that we're seeing, we don't think that those powers should be vested in the hands of the president. No. Let's allow for some level of independence so that these institutions can work and not work on partisan lines, but work in the favor of Ghanaians. If Ghanaians are asking for that, don't you think that regardless of what may have happened in the past, it's time for us to reconsider some of these decisions we made?
I do not know the police service to be working on partisan lines.
The police service is independent?
Yes, I believe so.
100%.
Apart from financial support from government, I believe they are independent. Why am I saying that? The current IGP, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, who I admire so much, was he not the IGP when we went to Kumawu for the by-election? The NDC, were they not, I have audio recordings and videotapes, were they not complaining? We as politicians, if you leave us, every election, win or lose, people will have complaints. It is not the basis to speculate and follow hearsay and say, we suspect this one is partner. Even Bella, at Media General here, haven't you ever heard gossips about yourself that you say, is that me? It is the nature of people that we are dealing with, especially within our cultural context. Okay. People talk, people gossip. But when we have a huge responsibility to deliver service, deliver excellence to this country, are we going to leave the issues of education, healthcare, economic transformation, digitization, security in the hands of other people, or are we going to throw our hands in the air based on some speculation or gossips? And are we saying that even in this day and age, 2023, we still don't know that when you hear audio recordings, be patient. Let there be investigation. Don't jump into conclusion. Okay. And if you are calling for investigation, why will you say, I know the people who did this recording. I even know where they did the recording. And I know why they did the recording. Then there is no need for investigation. So I am at loss as to why we are calling for investigation on one hand, and also alleging that this is the NPP people what they want. Okay. When you have not seen any leading member of the NPP after this by-election.
But you are for the investigation?
No, I have no problem.
Okay, Nanaya.
Bella, what is the meaning of bipartisan?
What is the meaning of bipartisan? Having both sides of the house.
And both sides are in the matter. So where will it get to? NDC will say that it is true. NPP will say that it is not true. And at the end of the day, where are we going to get to? Do you get me? There was this ad hoc committee on the finance minister, bipartisan. What happened to it? I'm asking you. These are two people of interest, two interest groups. So while they sit in that committee, NDC will say this. So they come out and the report is politicized. You want to take the politics out of whatever is happening. Now we are taking it back to politics. Parliament is not a neutral ground. Do you understand? Parliament is not a neutral ground. Parliament is sharply divided between two opposing sides.
Okay.
So how do you give this to them to investigate? Already it has been politicized. Do you understand? Yeah. Number two, if IGP, the police cannot do it because it is their boss who is involved, what about the Bureau of National Investigations? National Investigation Bureau. Their name is to investigate. That they are not under the IGP. They have their own setup. Why don't they take it there? They will have the capacity to investigate and investigate properly. Because that place, it doesn't care which political party you come from. As long as the matter comes to them, they will investigate. They have the forensics to look at the voice, and also if we really truly want some good work to be done, we should take it to the NIB. So that the NIB will do a thorough work, because in the hands of Parliament are two opposing sides. Ad hoc committee, nothing came out of it. Now, bipartisan committee, what will come out of it? They are involved. The two people are involved. They've mentioned NDs, they've mentioned MPP. Then they should bring it to CPP to investigate for them. Because
would you do it, and do you have the capacity?
We will use the collaborate with the NIB, because you see, when you take these two parties, they are in there. I also want to remind everybody that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in 2016, appointed His Excellency Kofo's ADC as CDS. I've forgotten them, my very fine gentleman. 2016. Why can't we do that and stop all this fighting? Because we are all Ghanaians. Sometimes, Bella, when I think about a Champions Union government, my father and co were one of the people who opposed it, Nanado and everybody. I think we should have worked on it.
We should have.
Yes. So that it's not winner takes all. You see, this winner takes all business is bringing problems because it emerges out of the constitution. The president appoints everybody. Do you understand? If you interpret the constitution deeply, the president might even appoint the cleaner of a public service, because he appoints everybody. So this issue of winner takes all is what is giving us the problem. So I believe that we should really, really, really look at this one and deal with it. Because if we are together as one, all these things will not happen. As Margot said, there are a lot of commissioners waiting, and some of them will never be IGP, because out of the conclave, only one person will emerge. So if IGPs are taken based on competence, based on the fact that some kind of peer review, then you know that the person coming out is the one everybody wants. Then you go through the process of applying for the job. So it gives even the opportunity for more than one person to apply.
Okay.
So that even a woman can emerge as IGP.
One day.
Yes, because all this while, no woman has emerged as IGP.
Yeah.
There was a deputy, I've forgotten her name. She was a deputy for a while, and she was never made the IGP. I think she's something else. She was never made the IGP. So if there is competitive, then a woman can also apply and become the IGP.
Okay.
But please, Bella, this parliament, there are two, NDC, MPP.
Okay.
So why should we let them investigate this matter? It should go to the NIB, National Investigation Bureau, the former BNI, for them to do a thorough work on it.
Margot, isn't this a valid point?
Yeah. You know, Nanaya is always in between us. So, I mean, I get her points very well. Babella, before I go that, Fatih
No, Margot, you see, NDC is in there. MPP is in there. So how can you form
that is what
an
we
independent
have. So
body?
I think we should
NIB is
encourage
there.
them.
National Investigation Bureau. Investigation. You want to go and investigate.
Where is it under? Which?
BNI.
They are independent.
Yes, Bureau of National Investigations. Are you telling
no
me
political
that?
Influence.
But you say Parliament, no political. These are politicians.
Nanaya, we should encourage Nanaya, we should encourage them to have the interest of this country.
No, please, when they
then shouldn't we encourage the police service to also investigate their own matter, to have the interest of this country?
Anyway, honestly, we have called for a bipartisan probe into it.
Okay.
But Nana, let me correct an impression made by my sister Fatih. She said I couldn't even find a report, and I was asking you to look for it. The report is there. It's online. And Bella, I was in the process of talking. Fatih doesn't expect me to halt and look for a document for you.
Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. You asked the question that why didn't President Nanado implement the constitutional review, which was done by the NDC? He said categorically that he's not going to implement anything that is somebody's campaign promise. So I've answered it for you.
Thank you for that answer.
So please, when I ask you to Google, I know you are working with the production behind you. So they will get it for you. The story is online. In July 2014, Professor Asari, the Ghana-based, UK-based Ghanaian lawyer, took us to court that he would not allow us to implement it. That is why he was halted. I was in the process of talking. We did not have topics to discuss constitutional review. So I did not need to carry that document. Okay. But in the conversation that it has come up, I have referred you, and your production team will do it for you. So Fatih, please, not that I cannot find the documents. I was in the process of talking. Okay. Well, the point is that we politicians, it's either NDC or MPP, one day we will all come back to rule this country. This is a country that we have. I urge that as young people, we should have the country's interests at heart. This is a country that over 60% of our population are below 30. And we expect that we live a life worthy of, emulating by our younger folks. Let's have the country at heart. The culture of backbiting, the culture of pulling him down, if we do not stop it today, it will come back to haunt us. Bella, that is why I reiterated on that fact. I do not have any interest in Dampare. I do not have any interest in the said commissioner. But my point is the country. Let's strengthen our state institution to be neutral. Let's have a character of supporting our own to build this country. And aside that, I will ask again, it is the same tape that has taken our former chairman to court. So we should not just rubbish a tape, but take time and look at it. Other than that, Mr. Fosuapofo has no business in court. That is my point.
Okay.
So please, the reason why President Mahama couldn't implement the constitutional review that was set by the NDC government, we were taken to court in 2014.
Has the police service been independent?
It is supposed to be, Babella, we all know that they are political influences. That is why we need to speak to it and encourage each other to allow them to do their job. It is, I always comment, not just the police service. You see, when these things come, at least we should use it as lessons for the rest. Electoral Commission, legislature. This is a national security threat. It also dwindled the trust and hope that people have in the police service. And it is not good for us as a country.
Okay.
We must do something for the younger generation to look up to us and know that, yes, this is what our parents, our grandfathers did, and we are proud of them. We shouldn't sit down for our younger folks to come and ask us that, why did you sit and allow this to go on?
Okay.